Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the Events Reimagined series. This is a content series that will be happening over the next 3 to 4 months, all about how we can reimagine and rethink of events as we move into the future of events. As we all know, the 2020 pandemic shook up the entire events industry. It shook up various other industries as well, but the events industry had a clear change. Everyone had to pivot from doing in-person events to either a hybrid model, a completely virtual model, or just no longer doing their events. So today I have here with me Jared Goldsmith and Kimberly Boone that will be talking about what that pivot was like. What was our experience during this change, going from in-person events and experiencing this live to virtual event pivot. So I'll pass it on to Jared to give yourself a quick introduction. Tell me a little bit about yourself, followed by Kimberly to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Georgie-Ann. It's a pleasure to be here, being interviewed by you. I mean, everybody knows, everyone in the world's been affected in some way or another, but I would say those in the, as you mentioned, the arts, entertainment, the venues, the event planners were hardest hit, and we will be the last to recover. As a full-time musician and an in-person event planner, I realized I was done. There was no hope for me, and I could have cried in my pillow for a year, or I could have done something about it. The first week that COVID hit, I said, okay, yeah, I've been playing music for over 30 years. That side of my life is finished. The in-person events, nothing's happening. I came across an amazing virtual platform, changed my life, and I have adapted 100% into hosting virtual events for other people. Also, we launched, you mentioned the word pivot. We launched a new podcast called the Pivoted Success Podcast. So there's a variety of experiences out there to help people learn how to adapt. And this interview today is one of them. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Jared. And we're going to talk about that amazing platform that we are all actually users of in just a minute. So Kimberly, I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself. So tell us all about yourself.
Yeah. I am an event producer, live event producer. I've been producing um, events for oh, 25 years. And I had launched my business, Creative Twist, about 6 years ago. And, it's going gangbusters. Had my just opened my office in downtown Toronto, full-time staff, and COVID hit. And so first thing we did was roll up the shingle and move out of the downtown office and save rent and move into home offices. And of all things, my landlord from that particular um, office asked us to reimagine an event for her in virtual. And so we jumped into the virtual platform soup and swam around for a while and realized what um, a, a scary mess it was. And until we ran across the platform that we're all going to talk about. And once we found that platform, it was really like life changing for us. We jumped feet first into virtual and haven't looked back. Yes, we still do live events, and we're moving into hybrid as well, but virtual saved our business. And I've opened a virtual event venue called Connect Event Hub, where we provide a venue operations team, just like you would see at a venue, to help clients, event producers, planners, and organizers reimagine their events for virtual. It's been fantastic.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Jared and Kimberly. And so, we've hinted at the platform that we've all used. And so the platform that we're talking about is Remo. We've all been using Remo.co, which is an amazing service to produce events. And I personally discovered Remo in the summer of 2019, so summer of 2019. And the first time I came across it, I was just like, whoa, this is it. Like, this is the game changer that many people have been looking for. I've been playing around with various virtual platforms before that, Zoom, Webinar Jam, just trying to kind of make things work, Mighty Networks, and just trying to connect a bunch of different things. And when I came across Remo, I was just like, okay, this was the missing piece to that puzzle. This platform allows for you to have this like top level view of your event space, and it just gives you that spatial recognition. It feels like you're next to someone. It feels how you would feel if you're moving from one table or one area to the next inside of an in-person event. And so, that really just allowed, especially like a lot of like high networking, high collaboration, trade show type events where people need to be in small groups, but then also be able to, I guess, experience and feel the sense of being surrounded by many others. So that's what Remo kind of gave to me. And then when the pandemic hit, it was just like, whoa, I get a chance, because I was trying to tell people about it, late 2019. They're like, we're good. In-person events is where we want to stay. It's not going to give the same feeling. I'm like, no, trust me, believe me, it's great. And it was just like this uphill battle. And then pandemic, it's like, oh, okay. Yes. Come tell us more. So I'd love to hear from you, Kimberly, and we'll kind of flip it backwards, Kimberly, then Jared, of what was your initial, like, when did you discover Remo? What was your initial thoughts? And you said like it really transformed your business. If there's any specific ways how, I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. So, like I said, this our landlord at in Toronto had asked us to help her reimagine a mentoring dinner. So it was students with potential employers, mentors, and usually they would sit around a table in a less formal environment, have dinner together, talk, and it was curated groups. So the mentor with students who were potential hirees. And so they wanted to create that more welcoming, casual experience, but in a virtual environment. And so I was introduced to Remo through World Event Center, Sue Sutcliffe, and I just loved the ability to design the space, to customize the look and feel, to the ease of moving between tables, and then when I was working with Sue and layering my experience as an event producer and an experience architect, guiding that attendee journey through the event, she was like, "Oh my God, this really really works. I really understand your perspective in applying it to this virtual space." And it was a bit of a lightning bulb moment for me um, in that I could take my 25 years of experience in live events and apply it to this virtual platform. And I'm a designer. A lot of what I do in live events is design the environment, decor, lighting, entertainment, vibe, event storytelling. I call myself an event storyteller because it's about the journey and it's about the holistic experience of the event and the message that you want to communicate by the end of it. And I could see those applications absolutely in Remo, in its functionality, in its the possibility of designing space to meet a vision, to meet goals and objectives. And you know, I had just gotten the government, Canadian government had offered a loan to businesses to help them through the pandemic, and Remo is fire sailing their studio package, saying it wasn't going to be offered much longer, and it was ridiculous the amenities you got with it. So I just left with both feet, and I haven't looked back. It's been brilliant.
Nice. That's amazing to hear, because again, so many businesses had to shut down, and not just shut down, but I really appreciate what you said about how you could take your 25 years of experience and knowledge and quickly and almost seamlessly apply it to this virtual ecosystem? Because I know many people, right, like if you didn't have to go virtual or have to digitize too much of your work, you just didn't. And it was just, that was normal. That was what we expected of folks, you know. We didn't ask everyone to be super tech savvy. We didn't need everyone to know how to get on Zoom and turn on a webcam and, you know, get your lighting ring and all these little things that make such a huge difference now and have become so normal. You know, you only have one camera, you only have one computer. What's happening? You know, we didn't expect that, especially for folks that were in the event industry. You had to have like that physical, spatial knowledge and mindset versus now but being able to transition those skills very seamlessly to your now online work and being able to say my business is still going and still being successful almost 2 years later.
Yeah.
Jared, oh, go ahead if you had something to add, Kimberly.
I'm just going to say, you know, I consider myself a bit of a Luddite. Like I'm not terribly tech savvy. And this platform just, it made sense to me. Like I could wrap my head around it and see its potential and understand the back end pretty quickly. So that's another, you know, great benefit of it.
Awesome. What about you, Jared? What was your first experience like with Remo, and just, you know, how you said, you know, you took your business and you've looked for it and you haven't looked back. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, first off, Kimberly mentioned, you know, she might not be the most tech savvy person out there. I'm an archaeologist. I studied rocks. And I understood the functionality amazingly well. Kim talked about the experience. It's all about user experience. That's why we're in business. You know, you're a storyteller, Kim. I host people's events. We're all in, you know, the same industry, and same with you, Georgie-Ann, and your team. It's about user experience and having them understand the platform, the functionalities. It has to be ease of use. When COVID hit, like I said earlier in my intro, we had no choice. We had to go in, and I think in retrospect, we all picked the winning horse. Because I like to say that when COVID hit, for months afterwards, around the world, people were looking for three things in no particular order: hand sanitizer, toilet paper, and an alternative to Zoom. And this is what we offered. As a little bit of a background, I was at an in-person Ottawa Board of Trade Mayor's breakfast not too long ago. We're sitting around the smaller group of table at City Hall. We're sitting around these big tables of 10. And somebody says, "Oh, I heard about your platform because I'm hosting some of their events. What's it like?" I say, "Okay, you see the other people at the other tables? Imagine there's a camera pointing down. You see there's one empty seat there? Yeah. You, as an attendee, can say, 'Oh, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.' And instead of walking over to the one empty seat, you double click. And then you're talking to that group of people." And I thought, what a great analogy. That's exactly, it sums up the platform perfectly. Because you could see everybody else sitting at your table, at the different tables. If I want to send them a message, I'm not going to yell across the room. I'm going to send them a private message. Zoom doesn't have that. It's a fabulous platform. It's changed my life immeasurably.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I love that analogy. Like, see, we're here. Just instead of walking, no walking necessary, just double tapping and then you'll be right over there. And it is so important to see how I think we've been able to use this platform. You know, we've worked together in various ways, and just use this platform to reach not only folks that are local but global. We've all been to different remote events, and we're seeing people from Australia. We're seeing people from, you know, you both are in Canada right now coming in, and so just literally all over the globe in different time zones, and just how immersive it could get to with the custom floor maps that Kimberly was just mentioning. You could literally design it to look like someone's office space, a coffee shop, a country club, just these various designs. And so it's just really impactful to see the changes that have happened and the positive growth that has happened using this platform. So now, you know, I want to ask you guys a little bit about just the pivot that had to happen, right? Because I know personally when you're pivoting, it's first like a mindset change that needs to happen, and then some action needs to come behind it. So in the first 6 months of the pandemic, you know, what were your feelings? You know, yes, you saw the platform, you committed to it, but now you have to convince your customers and your partners and your sponsors, like whoever was your stakeholders, that yes, this is the way to go. So what was that experience like? And I'd like to start with Jared this time, and then we pass it on to Kimberly.
Well, like any technology, you have to, as the host, you have to understand it left, right, and center. So for the first 6 months, my colleague Jean-Paul and I, we would spend hours a day trying to break it. Hours a day. And And that's why we know it so well. We created how-to videos. And so we understood it probably better than some of the team who worked at Remo. And over the years, we literally years now, we're still in touch with them. We're still super users. But people have to see it. You could say, it's much better than Zoom. It's the best platform out there for networking. Nothing's better. And they're like, yeah, we've been using Teams. It's fine for our needs. Why would we even need this? Oh, well, here's a little, if you're going to take the time to watch a video or attend a demo or attend one of these upcoming events, you'll see. And then once, I'm sure you could agree with me, both of you, once somebody sees it, they're like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Like, I didn't realize how easy it was for attendees, how easy it is for organizers. And you're right, Georgie-Ann, the reach is global. We're not only other hosts around the world, but it's so much easier for attendees. We're talking about hybrid models going forward for the foreseeable future. I'm not going back to hosting in-person events anytime soon. It's virtual events all the way.
Awesome. What about you, Kimberly? What was that experience like, enrolling your stakeholders in the fact that, we're shifting from in-person to virtual, and this is how we're going to do it?
Right. Well, I have to say that I'm very fortunate in that I am connected to an organization called the International Live Events Association. So I was at the time, or shortly after COVID hit, became the president of ILEA Toronto, the Toronto chapter, and I'd been president before, so it was sort of round two as president. So when I launched Connect Event Hub and jumped into the virtual space, I reached out to that community. And we very strategically positioned our business as being separate from Creative Twist, in that it was Connect Event Hub. We operated it as a venue, and our audience specifically was event planners and producers who were trying to figure out how to help their clients pivot to virtual.
So more B2B.
Exactly. So we said, okay, you know what? Come to us. We'll just be part of your team. It's like you're walking into the convention center and speaking to their venue operations team and them help you produce this event. That's what we'll do. We're taking our Creative Twist hat off, putting our venue hat on as Connect Event Hub and saying, this is we're just here to support you. We're here to make you look great. Because I saw the value in those producers bringing multiple events back to me versus the clients who have a one-off, and them also being able to sell the value of having this expert team who understand events, rather than the transactional, technical focused platform people that we'd run into as swimming in that platform soup. So I reached out to that community. I sponsored events for the ILEA chapters in Canada, to, as Jared said, get them in the door, let them experience the platform, and really it took from there. Like I've gotten so many clients and repeat business out of that, that it's been fantastic. And I've extended that reach now to ILEA chapters in the US, and am starting to host events for them and bring their membership into the fold to say, this is what's possible. You don't have to be stuck with Zoom. Yes, it costs a little bit more. That's the big uphill battle that we have. Is Zoom is technically, free. It may as well be free, and Teams as well. So, doing something in this platform is not free, but the production value and the experiential value is so much exponentially better that it's worth the investment.
Yeah, and I love how you said that, right? The value, the experiential value. And I think what oftentimes happen is that we we as producers, we kind of know the difference, but the public, right, the attendees, the agencies, the different organizations compare platform. So, I don't even compare Zoom to Remo and Teams. And the reason why is because I tell people, if you want to, I categorize things as either meetings, experiences, or just, workshops and conferences, right? So just categorizing it and separating it to say, hey, if you want a meeting, great, go to Zoom, go to Teams, go to a platform that has, easy to get in, not high functionality, but you won't get an experience there. Like, it is possible. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it going to feel the way you want people to come away with those high level of emotions, right? That they were able to look around the space and, actually see a coffee cup on a table, right? Like those little things that kick your brain into, I am somewhere doing something. I remember the first time I joined the Remo event back in 2019, like the first event that I went to, I thought I could join from my phone. That was like my first instinct, like, oh, this is just a meeting online. Let me join from my phone. And at that time, their mobile experience was not that built out. And it was a good thing for me to realize that. So I was like, all right, okay, I'll get on my computer. This is my colleague. I'm going to support this event. And I realized I had to be stationed somewhere. I had to be in it. I couldn't just is it possible now to do this on the go? Yes. But is that what you're looking for? No. So similar to where it's like you're inviting someone to an in-person event, you're taking a cab to the venue, you're taking the train, you're coming there, you're getting seated, and you're here with us experiencing this. And that's, I think, is one of the biggest the biggest values that the biggest value that Remo offers. You're in this space, you're gonna see the flowers, you're gonna see the chairs, you're gonna see the trees, the painting, literally the paintings on the wall. Like, I kid you not. We've done those before, and it's just like you are here with us experiencing this. And when you leave, then you're finished. You have left the venue, and you can tell people about it.
Well,
Jared,
Georgie-Ann,
go ahead.
if I may, people assume it's going to be Zoom, and
No.
they log in. Oh, this isn't Zoom. Wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It happens every single time. And a
Yeah.
lot of the times I have to tell my clients, when you're advertising it, say, it's not the same boring Zoom call. It's different. It really is an experience.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
it's reimagined.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Share the floor plan and get people excited about what they're jumping into, that it is different, right? Because it also, we have all experienced where you've got 150 people sign up for an event and 97 show up,
Well, that's a
right?
good
Because
turnout rate.
well, that's it, right? And but because they're expecting, oh gosh, not another Zoom call. Oh gosh, not another boring, dry, virtual two-dimensional experience. And I think that's what all three of us try to avoid at all costs is a two-dimensional boring experience. We want to create something engaging and something that's going to transport people into a different place.
Exactly. That, I love that statement. Transporting people into a different place is exactly what it does. And I think the fact that us as experiential producers that have done in-person events, we know what emotions we want people to walk away with. We know how we want them to feel when they're in a space, and just like the emotions that we want them to go through while they're attending this event. And so that actually adds to the experience that we're now able to provide and to continue serving our businesses. And so, Kimberly, you just mentioned having like a business model change, right? Going from a more B2C-ish model to now a clear B2B model. Jared, did you have any similar business model change and how you structured your business to, make money?
Right. Well, it's global now, as we talked about earlier. My market earlier was, for live music, was event planners and venues, mostly. The in-person events, well, I was B2B. I would host these trade shows for small business in my Ottawa, Ontario, Canada area. But then early on, like the first time I came across the platform, I realized, oh, this is so much bigger, so much bigger. My clients tend to be corporate, but we've done birthday parties and high school reunions from the 60s. We're working on our second one now. It's really interesting. All different types of clients. Anything you can imagine, we've probably done, both of you have. So we get some B2C, but I would say the bread and butter is B2B, because it's the corporations, the organizations, the municipal, the governments who are looking for something different. And we just wanted to make an experience happen. And it's been banner years, unbelievably busy. And it's not going back. This is the future.
It's not going back. I definitely agree that it's not going back. And so, as the name of this panel, the new normal experiences from pivoting from live to virtual, what did you learn from having to pivot? Just like on a personal learning note, that you may take, we hope that this pandemic ends at some point in our lifetimes, but just what did you learn from having to pivot, especially having to pivot so fast and so unexpectedly?
Well, actually, if you don't mind, I'll
Yeah,
start.
go ahead.
Trying to get a government job in Ottawa for many years when I first moved here, it was always like I was going on EI every 6 months, a year. I could never get my permanency, my indeterminate position. I was never able to take my job for granted. So I was used to this uncertainty. And then when I launched the band back in 2011, I was used to this whole lifestyle of not having a steady paycheck. And I had to take matters in my own hands. When COVID hit, I said, okay, I'm going to change my business model like this. Overnight, I switched so to me, it wasn't big of a change, but larger organizations, those with staff, brick and mortar, like you had, Kim, it's a much larger pie to consider. But as a small business entrepreneur, this just seemed like the future and the right thing to do. I don't have a board. I didn't have to bounce it off anyone. And I was able to pivot overnight, but not everybody is in that position.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jared. Kimberly, what about you? What did you learn from pivoting?
I learned that I'm a leaper. That I leap, and this isn't the first. It won't be the last time that I leap, and put faith in myself and my knowledge and my abilities. And in my community. Like, I think that that's a really big thing for me, is that community of event professionals that I have cultivated over years, who have really come out and supported me and what I'm doing, and given it a chance. I've also, on a very personal level, this has been a really challenging time for me. And, I am so thankful for this virtual world, because I was able to deal with family issues that came up, and was able to pick up my life and drop, move during a pandemic across the country to, a completely different market, and not really skip a beat. My business is still going. I'm still bringing in clients. I'm still generating revenue. I'm still able to keep my full-time staff. I'm now struggling to expand, to manage what's coming down the pipe. And so was able to more better balance family and those human personal responsibilities, and life changes, because of the flexibility of this new world that I'm in.
But Kim, I would say that at the beginning, before you made the move, it was the relationships you've built over years, right? That collaborative nature that you are, the type of person,
Yeah.
helped launch. Like, yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
like when I was, just starting, I approached all of the organizations, the hospitals, the governments around my town, because they knew me already, and then it started branching out from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's that community that you build, and that
Mhm.
and that's another, really key thing that I think, that can't go unnoticed with Remo and its differential, is the community, is the fact that, technically we could all three be competitors going after the same business, but we're not,
Yeah.
because we realized there's a lot of business out there, and why not support each other and collaborate, and do better, bring the bar up for all of us so that we all can be more successful. It's
Well,
fantastic, and
that's a
that's
great
the
point,
whole
Kim.
mindset of Remo.
It really is the community. I mean, when was the last time you said, I'm going to have a meeting with the CEO of Zoom? Not going to happen.
Yeah.
But this platform, because it is a small group of super users like us, and we're in touch with the leadership team quite often.
Yeah.
And they listen to feedback. They adjust the way the platform functions depending on our experiences, because we're the super users. Like Georgie-Ann, you joined it way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, you talked about the competition. I never considered anybody competition for what I do. Anything in life. I have dozens of videos talking about that, because I realized back when COVID started, I'm going to host large events. I'm going to need people like Georgie-Ann and Kim and your staff to help me with tech support. I'm not going to hire anybody off the street if I don't know them and vet them ahead of time. And we've worked together in the past. And the future is bright. Like you said, Kim, the world's a big place. So for those people out there who consider, oh, I'm in the same platform as you and I'm not going to talk to you because you're competition, I'm thinking to myself, that's very short-sighted, because we will need each other's support when we do large events.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. And definitely it was an interesting process to see how many changes, right? Similar to you, Kimberly, I had a lot of life changes. I've moved, my team has grown, and now, the growing pains have started to impact as well, where it's just like, okay, what comes next? Hiring, right? Everyone's like still trying to figure out the world of hiring. There's a employee shortage, and with now like COVID vaccine protocols and everything has like shifted. And so, I think what was not scary, but what was most pivotal for me personally was, Jared, you said, you were used to the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship and not having something consistent. And so was I. That's what I was used to. And during the pandemic, things became consistent. And that was what threw me off my rocks. I'm just like, whoa, I'm used to this. Why is everything like, okay, we're going up? Or like, everything is growing. I'm just like, oh, this is different. So just learning how to, and I call it, go from a freelancer or super small business owner to, CEO, to a leader and a boss in a more consistent base, and not having so much waves in the growth. And so now, as we start coming to the end of this segment, I would want to ask you what advice, and you've shared a lot of advice already, is what advice would you have for other agencies? We've already said not like looking at folks as not competitors, but potential partners. And the industry is so huge for all of us that we're all busy, we're all booked, we're all doing something, short staff. So anyone's looking for a job, I'm pretty sure, reach out to any of our agencies. We are hiring. We are all hiring. And, but what would you advise to other event agencies, and maybe even to people that are thinking about getting into the virtual space, that have been working in the in-person space and still struggling to make that pivot, that change?
The expression, it's a Chinese proverb, when's the best time to plant a tree? Most people say, well, obviously today. Well, if you have a bit of wisdom, the answer would have been 20 years ago. There's no better time than to start today. If you're on the fence, you're still doing your in-person events, but you're looking for an alternative, a virtual platform, talk to somebody who's already a super user. Have them show your attendees, your board, the experience it could offer. Because at the end of the day, you have to make yourself shine to your organization. Doesn't matter if you're a profit, nonprofit, whatever. And we do that. That's what this platform does. People go back and tell you as the organizer, that was the best virtual experience I've ever had. And they're always going to work with you because we were the ones who made it happen. So it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say, we're 19 months into this, and it's time to do better than Zoom. There's so many opportunities, and not just the Remo platform. We've all dug into that platform, and for me, I'm not really that interested in any other platform. I want to become a pro and really dig into this platform. But there are things that you can bring to the table to create experience, to really engage audiences, and just leap. Just give it a try. And because knowledge that you have from your experience in live can really translate to virtual. You still have to think about the attendee journey. You still have to think about the messaging and the storytelling within the experience. And if you know, find the right partners, and we do this in live, you're only as successful as the partners that you work with, the vendors and what they bring to the table. It's the same with virtual. If you find the right partners who can fill in the gaps and help you to really create those experiences, your clients will be very thankful for you.
Kim, we've all heard it before. The worst words you could hear from a CEO or leader, we've always done it that way. Oh, my eyes roll up in the back of my head when I hear this. In that case, you're probably still using Zoom. Your attendees are still complaining, but hey, we've been doing it for 20 years. That's what we do. Well, if you're an organizer, the leader of your organization, you should be forward thinking, looking at the big picture, as keep using the word of the day is experience, offering the best experience to your users. You're right. There's a lot of other virtual platforms out there. Hands down, I think, well, depending on the needs, but this remote platform can accommodate so many. And then once people see it, they don't go back.
Yeah. It's
Thank you.
possibility thinking.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, and that is definitely true. I love how you guys are saying just just try it, right? And there is so much room for people to transition their skills, and we have another talk coming up a little bit later in the series about how you can transition your skills. There's people that have from everything from in-person. Magicians have now gone virtual, mixologists, paint and sip, musician, Jared, you mentioned musicians, musical performances fully online, concerts coming to your living room, literally, or for your private sessions on remote. They are, mailers, people that are mailing out boxes for a virtual event. This platform, Pizza Time, Dineable. There are just so many different ways that you can convert whatever you were doing in person into the virtual world, and you pivot. I've also spoken to colleagues that pivoted into completely virtual and have pivoted back to completely in person. And so you have the opportunity to change your mind and go with the trends and go with the times. But the problem is if you're just staying stuck into what you were previously doing just because, Jared mentioned it, Kimberly mentioned it, and I'm mentioning it again. Don't stay stuck just because you're afraid of what is going to happen, or you're just not sure what's going to happen, right? The pandemic showed us all that in the blink of an eye, or lives or daily agendas or daily tasks can change. And we are all, here, and we are all having to grow our business, transform our business, pivot, change, adjust. And that is just a part of life, right? We will continue to have to do this. And the pandemic reminded us that, human life is not flat. It is ebbs and flows. And so we have to continue to change with the times, to adjust ourselves and our businesses to work with the resources that we're given, and just continue to create experiences that bring us together, no matter if it's in person, hybrid, or completely virtual.
Yeah, I mean, talking about reimagined events, Georgie-Ann, I mean, the reach is global, as we already talked about. No other time in history can I think, I was doing an event for this organization, and I had a 15-minute conversation with the lead singer of Glass Tiger, helping him out with his camera and microphone. I thought, this is amazing. Krista Berg wrote back to me on Facebook. Like, really? This is the pivoted moment of my life. You could reach anybody, and there's no cost besides their time to have them as a speaker join your events. And some of the speakers I've had were just phenomenal. They would never come. They would cost $40,000 to come to my events. Some of them did it for free for a virtual event. It's only like 15, 20 minutes out of their time, or half, whatever it is. So think big, think global, not only for your attendees, but who can be a draw for your events. The worst that they'll say is, well, they're not going to reply. So you have nothing to lose, because, reimagining your virtual events, there's no time commitment to travel, as we all know. The cost is very negligible. But reach for the stars. You know the expression, if you miss, you'll hit the moon or something like that.
Yeah, so like Jared just said, reach for the stars, and like Kimberly says, be a leaper, take leaps of faith. And so, I want to thank you both for being here with me today for this talk. And folks that are watching it live and folks that are watching the replay, definitely share if you think that somebody in your network could value from this information. This video will stay live in all of our different platforms, as well as inside of this Events Reimagined series. But yes, thank you so much, Jared and Kimberly, for talking to me today about how you pivoted your business, how you've found Remo as an amazing platform, and how we should all, shoot for the stars, and we should all be leapers in our journeys as thinkers, doers, entrepreneurs while we reimagine events. So thank you all for tuning in, and thank you all for speaking today.
Thanks so much, Georgie-Ann. Wonderful.
Thank you. Bye.